Steel Hawg is the premier steel roller coaster at Indiana Beach, and Steel Hawg is quite the interesting ride. Located at the far end of the park adjacent to the parking lot, Steel Hawg was the prototype S&S El Loco. S&S designed the El Loco model to compete with Gerstlauer's popular Eurofighter model. The El Loco coasters were designed to be even more compact and have an even steeper beyond vertical first drop. And this coaster was designed by none other than Alan Schilke. That helps explain some of the ride's ambitious elements, such as the 111-degree first drop and the outward bank turns, the latter of which we saw later on RMCs designed by Alan Schilke. S&S sold 7 El Locos between 2008 and 2014, but they haven't sold one since. As a result, this model is still pretty rare, and Steel Hawg is only one of 2 El Locos in the United States. The other one is located in Las Vegas at the Adventure Dome. As a prototype, Steel Hawg is a bit prone to downtime. Most of the issues I've seen involve a car coming to a stop on the mid-course brake run. This actually happened during my first visit to Indiana Beach, and riders were evacuated, which closed the ride for the night. In my most recent visit, the coaster opened late due to issues and had some additional downtime later in the day. Whenever the ride went down, I saw an employee working on the final brake run. And Steel Hawg has some really funky restraints. You have a lap bar that swivels from the side and lowers, much like those on an S&S Scream and Swing. But you also have these shoulder pads that lower from above. And if you aren't careful, these shoulder pads can be pretty uncomfortable. If they rest too high, they can be a source of head banging. And if they're too tight, they'll dig into your shoulders painfully. While they don't tighten during the ride, the park does lower them pretty quickly, so just keep that in mind. From what I saw, they are willing to unlock and readjust the restraints if a rider finds them too uncomfortable. Just be willing to speak up. Steel Hawg operates with single car 4-person trains, so I don't think there's much of a difference between the front and back row in terms of forces. But I do recommend the front ever so slightly because the seats in front of you have fairly high seat backs, which means if you're in the back row, your view's pretty obstructed. Steel Hawg begins with a very fast and steep lift hill. You crest that 96-foot tall lift in a flash. You then start to pick up speed during a pre-drop. This section gives some nice views of Lake Schaefer, but all eyes will be fixed on that beyond vertical first drop. It looks unreal. When Steel Hawg opened, that 111-degree first drop was the steepest in the world. But Steel Hawg did not hold that record for long, as 2 subsequent El Locos were built with a 1-degree steeper angle of descent in the next 2 years. Now, the record is held by TMNT Shellraiser and Nickelodeon Universe in New Jersey, as that coaster boasts a 121.5-degree first drop. But back to Steel Hawg, that first drop should be the most exciting part of the ride. That's especially true since you have a full head of steam from the pre-drop. Almost every vertical drop I've experienced has delivered crazy ejector airtime. But there's a problem with the drop in Steel Hawg. This drop has a trim brake over the crest, so you get absolutely no airtime. It's an absolute buzzkill in my opinion. Compare that to the first drop in Adventure Dome's El Loco that operates without a trim brake. That is one of my favorite drops anywhere. You fly over the drop and get some crazy ejector airtime. For that reason, it's a shame that Steel Hawg's drop couldn't be just as good, because I know it would if that brake wasn't there. The second half of Steel Hawg's drop is quite whippy once you do clear that trim brake, but it's no substitute for airtime in my opinion. You then ascend into the first of 2 outward bank turns. The first is taken with a decent amount of speed, so you get some nice laterals. The second outward bank turn occurs after a brake run, so you take it with a lot less speed. In fact, you crawl through the element. As a result, you don't get what I'd consider laterals. It feels more like you're being tipped sideways out of the car. It sort of feels a bit awkward in my opinion. You then transition into a traditional bank turn that slowly morphs into a dive loop. And since you're still crawling through this element, you get a ton of hang time. After diving towards the ground, you ascend a steep hill, getting a quick pop of airtime. It's really the only bit of airtime on the entire coaster. Steel Hawg then passes through another brake run, rounds a corner, and creeps through an elongated barrel roll that drops riders back down to the ground. This barrel roll is taken so slowly that it's another great source of hang time. That's followed by one last overbank and then you hit the brake run. I was optimistic the little hill into the brake run would offer another pop of airtime, but the brakes start before you even hit the crest of the hill, killing any chance of airtime. In general, Steel Hawg tracks quite smoothly, but some of the elements are a bit awkward due to the restraints. I really wish this coaster had the lap bars just like its cousin at the Adventure Dome. So what would I rate Steel Hawg? I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. Steel Hawg was an ambitious prototype with its record-breaking drop, outward banking turns, and sustained hang time. But the brakes and restraints knocked the coaster down in my opinion. It's certainly a fun coaster for its uniqueness, but it's a flawed one. In general, I prefer the lap bar only Eurofighters to Steel Hawg since those coasters have an untrimmed first drop and superior pacing. What are your thoughts on Steel Hawg, or any of the SNSL Locos in general? Are you a fan of this funky coaster, or do you prefer the Eurofighters? I would love to hear your comments down below. If you enjoyed this review, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more roller coaster reviews here at Canopy Coaster. Thank you for listening.